Hello everyone, welcome back, and Barcelona wins 5-2 in the Champions League away from home. And to be honest, the scoreline, it looks pretty crazy, but I think there were some times where Barcelona, they maybe found it difficult in this game, which is not surprising at all because it's an away game in the Champions League, so that's always going to be difficult in Barcelona. It was just important to bounce back in the second half. They did very well, and of course they completely deserved the win today. So Barcelona, 3 points in the Champions League, which is very important, and so I just wanted to talk about that game and also apologize for not making videos. As I said, I wanted to say sorry. I haven't been as active on YouTube or TikTok as well. I just have been traveling. I vacationed to Hawaii for a week, which was very fun, but then I also got sick on the way back, which you can maybe tell from my voice, so I just haven't been posting for a couple days, but I apologize for that. I do want to talk about this game because I feel like there is a lot to talk about, and Barcelona, as I said, in the first half, they did struggle a bit. I know it was 2-1 at the end of the half. I think Lewandowski, he found that goal. That was a poacher's finish from Rafinha, and Rafinha, very decisive again. He got the assist for the first goal, and then the second goal was from his great shot hitting the post. Lewandowski follows it up, and then he scored the fourth as well with a great finish. And Jules Koundé with 3 assists from right back. That was just incredible from him going forward. And I think Barcelona, in that first half, I'm not going to look too far into it because I think there were some rotations, and I want to talk about the midfield setup because I think Pedri as the number 10, that's a big conversation for Barca fans, and it was a conversation as well at the Euros with Pedri playing and starting in that number 10 position. And is it the best fit for him? Is it the best fit for Barcelona's midfield in general? Because right now it's such a luxury because they have so many good options. And with Gavi coming back from injury, Frankie de Jong back from injury, Fermin Lopez and Dani Olmo both available now. So there are a lot of different setups that you can use. And Hansi Flick, as I said, have been so impressed with the way that he's gotten Barcelona to play. In that first half, I think they maybe started a little bit sluggish, but that second half, that intensity that they brought, and then of course those quick goals right after halftime started, that's exactly what you have expected from Barcelona. That's exactly what we've been able to witness this entire start to the season under Hansi Flick. So I was so impressed with scoring 5 goals away from home, and I heard a statistic from the commentators that Barcelona, they've won 15 games away from home in the Champions League out of their last 37 matches. So 15 wins from 37. That's really not the best return from Barcelona, so they've definitely struggled away from home in these Champions League games, and so it's just nice to see Barcelona back on track with a decisive win. It was 5-2. Again, as I said, they didn't start the game incredibly well. That first half they did struggle a little bit, I think, with the tempo, and they were dominating the ball a lot, but it just didn't seem like they were able to find a way through the back line of the opposing team. But they found a way to get it done in the second half, and that completely decided the game. So very happy with the result, very happy with the performance as well. To see Barcelona play that well, to score 5 goals away from home in the Champions League, it was just great to see. And as I said, I wanted to talk specifically about the midfield, and before I even start, Marc Casado, he has been absolutely brilliant, and just another great performance from him today. I can't talk enough about how good he's been under Hansi Flick, and I think, a lot of Barca fans, they were confused why he wasn't starting or at least getting some minutes last season because he was Barcelona B team's captain. He was starting every single game for them. So to see him not even get really any minutes in the first team last season, especially given the fact that Barcelona were really struggling, they wanted to find a new solution. But Hansi Flick, the first day he came in, he said, Marc Casado, you have all my trust. He's basically played him in every single game that he's coached under Barcelona. So he's been so good, Marc Casado. And I haven't been on Twitter to see if he's getting praised for that performance. I really hope that he is because he's just been incredible. Seriously, he has not put a foot wrong. The tackling, the work rates off the ball, his passing has been just great. I can't praise him enough. Seriously, he's been incredible. He's been immense. I think he's the first name that you put in the team sheet, actually behind Pedri, I'd say. This is the second name that you put into the team sheet in the midfield. So I know there's this conversation going around right now about Frankie de Jong, and I think some people have also brought it up that maybe Frankie de Jong is somewhat of a scapegoat. If things aren't going well, it's kind of easy to blame the guy with the highest salary that, sometimes off the ball doesn't work as hard as other players. And it's interesting because I think with Frankie de Jong, you kind of have to change your system a little bit to include him because I think right now Barcelona's best midfield, it involves both Pedri and Marc Casado. So where does Frankie de Jong play? And I think that's what Hansi Flick was also asking. And so it was his first start since coming back from the injury, and he started him, and then he put Pedri as the number 10. And did that work? I think, in the second half, in the first, 10 minutes, they did score those 2 goals to make it 4-1. So eventually the tides were changed, and Barcelona were able to find a way to get the win in this game. But I think in that first half, it just looked like the midfield wasn't as dominant, wasn't as comfortable, and I think Casado was amazing. Frankie de Jong, I don't even think he did anything wrong today, but I just think the midfield setup me personally, I like it better when Pedri is an 8 and then Marc Asado is alongside him in a double pivot. I think that's what works best. And I think for me, Pedri, I just think he does well as a number 10. I think he's very creative in tight spaces. Of course, he's brilliant, but I just think he's not getting enough touches on the ball. And that was the same exact thing that I said in the Euros when he was playing for Spain. I think those first 4 games before he unfortunately got injured, he was playing as a 10, and I just don't think that suited his strengths. I just don't think he was getting enough touches. He wasn't able to dictate the play enough, and those are what you want. Those are the attributes that Pedri brings to your midfield. So to play him as a 10 where he's not getting as many touches, it just somewhat limits the impact that he can have on the game, in my opinion. But I don't think as a number 10 it's like bad to watch him play there, but I just think with the other options, I would prefer to see Dani Olmo or Fermin Lopez play in that number 10 role, and then you can slot you can slot Pedri back into the 8, and I think that's where he is best suited. And so I think that was a conversation at halftime. I looked a little bit on Twitter to see what Barca fans were thinking about the midfield performance, and that seemed to be what a lot of people were talking about. So I agree with that. I think Pedri and Marc Asado, those are the 2 best midfielders for Barca right now. And I think if you have a game that it's a must-win, I don't think Frenkie de Jong would be starting. And I might make another video talking about Frenkie de Jong because I don't know. Does he fit into this team? I don't know. I think right now, it's obviously it's a big boost to have Frenkie de Jong back in the team, right? And you want all your players to come back healthy, and to have players like, as I said, Frenkie de Jong, Gavi, Fermin Lopez, and Dani Olmo coming back from injury, that's a huge boost to Barcelona. But it's not, I'm never going to complain about Barca, being worried about who they can start, right? Because it's a luxury to have that many healthy players, given the fact that Barca, in the past couple seasons, they definitely struggled to keep a healthy squad. So that's great. I'm not going to complain about that. But I just think the midfield setup in this game, maybe that was one of the reasons why they just struggled to break through the opposing team. And they did well. They held a very good defensive line. They were doing well. They were just trying to kind of take their couple chances and counter. And I think Silas was the player. Is that the guy that Danny Aarons talked about? I think in the last couple FIFAs, right? He was on Stuttgart, if I believe. Yeah, he was good, right? And that finish that he had was just amazing. So I can't really blame Barca's defense. I think that high line, it's high risk, high reward, as I've always said. And I love the way that Barca are playing, so I don't want that to change. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about the midfield because I think that was maybe one of the things that was causing Barcelona a little bit of struggle in the first half. And another point that I want to bring up is talking about Gerard Martin starting in this game. And a lot of Barca fans ask the question, what does Hansi Flick see in Gerard Martin? And to be honest, I don't think it's Hansi Flick's fault at all for starting him in this game because you want Alejandro Balde to be rested. He completely deserved it. He played 5 or 6 games in a row, so you want him to be managing Balde's minutes, right? So I think Gerard Martin, as a backup, he might not be the best option. I don't think he had a very good performance today. I don't really think he's ever had a very solid performance, in my opinion, that I could say, I think he can start for Barca. I don't see him as that type of player personally, but Hansi Flick knows better than I do. So if he trusts Gerard Martin, then I completely understand that. But I just think it's due to Balde, trying to get a good amount of rest because he's played a lot of games in a short amount of time. So I think that's what Hansi Flick was doing, playing him in this game. So it's definitely not Hansi Flick's fault for trusting Gerard Martin because he doesn't really have another option as a backup left back. I get Marcus Alonso vibes from Gerard Martin, which I'm not trying to slander a player, but I don't think that's really what I would want as a Barcelona left back. So I hope that's not a long-term option for Barca. I think maybe if he can just be the backup left back. Hector Ford, a lot of people talk about him playing left back because he was very good in that position last year when Xavi called on him to play in that position. But it just seems like Hansi Flick is trusting Gerard Martin more in that position. And Hansi Flick, he knows more than I do, so I'll just admit that. But yeah, a lot of people talking about Gerard Martin, and maybe some people were saying he was at fault for the first goal. Hopefully he can be a decent backup this season. But I'm definitely a little bit more worried when he's starting because Alejandro Balde is so good. I just think he fits Barcelona's system, of course, so much better than Gerard Martin. And I also wanted to talk about the attackers. Rafinha, decisive as always this season. He's just been on a completely different level. That ball that he had on the free kick to Inigo Martinez, incredible pass there. And of course, Inigo Martinez with a great finish with the header. And then Rafinha for the second goal. It was a great cutback to him. And then just a rocket of a shot. Hits the post, unfortunately. But Lewandowski is there to follow it up. So both of those goals in the first half were from Rafinha. And then for the fourth goal, he finished it off with a beautiful finish after Koundé. He slotted the ball back to the top of the box. Rafinha, right place, right time. Beautiful finish again. And Lewandowski, he had a brace as well. I think Lamine Yamal, of course, by the way, was incredible in this game. I know the other 17-year-old on the opposing team had said something saying he was going to show that he was better than Lamine Yamal. I can't even understand how he would say that. Hopefully there was a language barrier there. Maybe there was just some misinterpretation from his quote. I don't understand why he would say that. And Lamine Yamal was absolutely incredible in this game as well. And it's going to look on the stat sheet that he has 0 goals and 0 assists. But that's why it's important to tune in for 90 minutes because he was incredible. He could have easily had 4 assists in this game. I mean, Rafinha just completely skied a shot that... I mean, Lamine Yamal, that pass that he saw to Rafinha in the first half, I mean, I stood up and applauded. It was incredible. And then Lewandowski had a great pass to him, but his touch took him out of bounds. He had a couple just amazing passes in this entire game, and he was just incredible again. Lamine Yamal is just so fun and enjoyable to watch. So I was really confused when I saw that quote. I just had to laugh because, I mean, that was inevitable. And I think the 17-year-old, if I'm remembering correctly, was the dude that got absolutely bodied by Koundé for the 4th goal. So, yeah, just really confused why you would decide to say that. I mean, if I was him, I'd personally have learned from Rabiot, who tried to say that in the Euros, and Lamine Yamal scored a worldie in that game, so very confusing. But yeah, the attack was good today. I think maybe some people are going to talk about Lewandowski missing some chances. He scored a brace in this game, so he was great. And Rafinha, decisive as always. Lamine Yamal, incredible to watch. And it was also very nice to see Fermin Lopez get the goal. And that one that Gavi passed it to him, and then he hit it first time, just a curler, hit the crossbar. Please, you got to let that go in. That would have been such an amazing goal from Fermin Lopez. So it was nice to see these players get those minutes. And overall, as I said, you know, the most important thing in an away game in the Champions League, I know some Barca fans maybe say this was a gimme with the way that Barcelona have been playing, and they went in there, of course, being heavy favorites, but nothing is guaranteed. You know, it starts the game at 0-0. It doesn't matter how good your team is. It doesn't matter how good you've been playing. You have to go in there and get 3 points, and that's exactly what Barcelona did today. But as I said, I do apologize for being inactive on YouTube. I've still been watching Barcelona games. It's just been difficult sometimes to make a full video, and as I said, I got sick and I was traveling, so I apologize for that, but of course I'm still watching Barcelona games. I'm still trying to keep track with all the news, so if there's any video that I want to make, I'll try and make it as soon as possible. But as always, thank you all very much for the support. I hope you all have been doing great. Hope you all, I've had a good couple last weeks before the last time that I've talked with you all. So thank you all very much for watching my video. I really do appreciate all the support. I just love talking about this stuff with you all. So I hope you all have been doing great, and VISCA BARCA as always. See you all later. Peace.